There are three types of questions in Biblical Greek. In this video, I'm going to cover the first two types, and the last one, which is the rhetorical questions, I will make a separate video and I will put the link to that video somewhere in this corner. So, let's begin. The first way to build questions in Greek is similar to English. It is by using the question words, like the words like who, what, where, and why. So who are you, what do you do, where do you live, and why are you here? So in Greek we have similar question words. Same as in English, they are written in front of the sentence, so they will be the very first word in the sentence. Tis and T are representative of who and what, so T is neuter, so it is often translated as what, and tis works for masculine and feminine. So it's important to remember that the question words will have the accent above the iota, because if we don't have this accent, these words will mean something totally different. And the way I teach my students is that this iota with the accent looks like the upside down question mark. So whenever you see these words with the accent above iota, it triggers that this is the question word and you are dealing with the question. So the question where is Greek pou, and why is actually a combination of a preposition dia, because of, and t is from here, what, so because of what, or for what reason, or simply why. And finally, let's remember that the question mark itself in Greek looks like a semicolon. So every time you see a semicolon in Greek text, it actually means a question. So now let's take a look at a few examples. The first example comes to us from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 20. Let's read. Ti theles. So here we have our question word, ti, which means what. We double check and we see that we have a question mark, so we know for sure this is the question. Now this is the verb theles from the verb thelo, which means I want, I wish. We see the second person singular ending, meaning you, so you want. Everything together will be what you want, and because we have a question, we need to make it a question, so we say, what do you want? The next example is also from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22. Let's read. Tinos huios estin. So again, we see a question mark right here, and this is our question word, tinos, which is a genitive form of the word tis, and instead of who, it means whose. So whose, huios, son, and this is our subject, and the word estin is the verb eimi in the third person singular, which means is. So literally whose son he is, but because we have a question, we need to make it a question, so whose son is he? If you've been enjoying this video so far, please like this video, because if you like it, the YouTube algorithm also likes this video and promotes it to more people who also want to learn Biblical Greek. Now let's get back to our video. This example is from the Gospel of Luke. Let's read. Pou hepistis humon. So as usual, we see the question word in the beginning of the sentence. This time it is the word where. We also see a question mark, so we know this is the question. And here we see a phrase which literally means your faith. Okay, as we know in Greek, the possessive words usually follow the word they modify. So literally, where your faith. And this sentence lacks a verb, because in Greek many verbs are implied. They don't need to be written, but in English we must write down the verb, and here it will be the verb is. So altogether it will be where is your faith. Our final example here is from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 11. Let's read. Dia ti uk episteusate auto. Here again we see a question mark, so we know we are dealing with the question. We have the question word here, dit, because of what or for what reason, or simply why. Then we have a negative particle no or not. Before the verbs it is don't. And here we have a verb, episteusete, from pisteo, I believe. It is an aorist. We see an augment. We see the aorist suffix sa. And now the ending, second person plural, meaning you plural. So you believed, because we have a negative particle, we need to translate it you didn't believe, and auto means him. So altogether from left to right it will be why you didn't believe him. Now we have a question, so let's transform this sentence into a question. Why didn't you believe him? The second type of questions in Greek is a so-called yes or no question. Let's take a look how they are formed. By adding a question mark at the end of a regular sentence, we receive a so-called yes or no questions. In other words, if we just have a regular sentence, instead of a period, we put the question mark here. Now we create a question which expects yes or no answer. Let's take a look at two examples. Before we continue, I just want to let you know that these are just small tidbits of what I'm offering in my video course of the Biblical Greek Grammar. So if you like what you see here, please consider enrolling into that video course. And the first example comes to us from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 14. Let's read it. Su ei ho Christos. So we can see a question mark right here, so we know it's a question, but there is no question word. So this is just a regular sentence. Let's translate it. Su means you. A is the verb eimi in the second person singular, meaning are. So you are ho Christos, the Christ. So literally it says you are the Christ. And if we had period here, it would be just a sentence, you are the Christ. But because we have a question, we need to convert you are the Christ into a question, and we receive are you the Christ. And our last example is from the Gospel of John, chapter 11. Let's read. Pisteoes tuto. Again, we see a question mark, so we know this is the question. We don't have any question word. So let's translate. Pisteoes, we have seen this word already. From pisteo, I believe, we see the second person singular ending, meaning you, so you believe. Tuto is a demonstrative pronoun, which means this. So literally, it means you believe this. But because we have a question, we need to transform this sentence into a question. And we receive, do you believe this? And as I said, it is a yes-no question. It expects an answer, yes, I do believe this, or no, I do not believe this. So, do you believe this? If you enjoyed this video and it helped you to learn, please like it, comment below and subscribe to this channel to receive more videos like this. And remember, we're not just learning Greek grammar, we are getting closer to God. So I wish you all the best, learn Greek, love God, I'll see you in the next video.